Welcome to This Explainer. We are jumping right into a true medical mystery today, one that has likely completely destroyed a peaceful night of sleep for you at some point. We're talking about the midnight agony of nocturnal leg cramps. If you have ever experienced this, you know exactly what I mean. Today, we're going to demystify exactly why this happens. Most people think it's just an unavoidable part of getting older, or maybe from walking a bit too much during the day. But what if the true trigger behind those agonizing spasms isn't your age at all, but actually something sitting right on your dinner plate? So picture this. You're in a deep, peaceful sleep. Suddenly, out of absolutely nowhere, you are jolted awake by a visceral, agonizing spasm in your leg, right? It literally feels like your muscle is twisting itself into a solid rock of pure pain. You're totally paralyzed by it in the dark, frantically grabbing at your leg, desperately trying to rub it away. It's an incredibly intense, unbearable experience. If you've suffered through these so-called Charley horses, I want to validate your pain right now. It is excruciating. But listen, you are far from alone in the dark here. Up to 60% of adults over the age of 50 suffer from these nocturnal attacks, and they become significantly more frequent, severe, and persistent once you pass 60. Plus, nearly 40% of pregnant women experience them too. As our bodies age, our muscles naturally lose elasticity, and our nerves become way more sensitive to subtle changes in fluid levels and minerals. It's a massive issue that robs millions of people of a good night's rest.
Section 1, the scene of the crime, anatomy of a cramp. Okay, so a nocturnal leg cramp is fundamentally a sudden, involuntary, and intense muscle contraction. Your muscle basically fires and then totally refuses to release. Normal muscle contraction and relaxation rely on a really delicate balance of sodium, potassium, and magnesium. When that balance gets thrown off, your nerves send these frantic, misfired signals to your muscle fibers. The result? They lock up in a tight, unprovoked knot while you're trying to sleep. And these cramps definitely have a preferred hunting ground. The primary targets are almost always your calves, your hamstrings, and the arches of your feet. When an attack strikes, those specific muscle fibers lock up so tightly that the pain and soreness can linger in the area for hours, sometimes even days afterward. It honestly leaves you feeling like you ran a marathon in your sleep. Section 2, interrogating the suspects, the medication connection. So let's look at the hidden culprits. Many common prescription drugs are notorious triggers for leg cramps. We're talking about diuretics used for blood pressure, statins for cholesterol, long-acting beta agonists for asthma, and even certain estrogens. Often, patients suffer for years without realizing that a simple dosage reduction, guided by their doctor of course, could resolve their leg cramps entirely. But here's the twist. It's not just pills. What you eat can trigger these exact same chemical reactions. Now think about how diuretics work. They force your kidneys to flush out excess fluid and sodium, which unintentionally pulls potassium and magnesium right out of your body along with it. Your muscles desperately need those exact minerals to relax. But you know what else does this? A diet high in ultra-processed salty foods. Things like canned soups, frozen meals, and packaged snacks. When your body tries to flush out all that excess sodium, it accidentally flushes out those critical minerals, pulling water out of your muscle cells and leaving your legs dehydrated, depleted, and completely prone to seizing in the dark. Statins are another major suspect, with up to 10% of users reporting painful muscle cramps. But again, diet plays a huge role here too. Refined sugars and high glycemic carbohydrates, like desserts, white bread, and sodas, spike your blood glucose, causing a heavy release of insulin. That high insulin actually signals your kidneys to rapidly excrete potassium. Without enough potassium, the nerve endings in your legs fire erratically. Plus, sugar causes mild inflammation that reduces blood circulation. When oxygen drops in your resting legs, lactic acid builds up, and boom, the muscle locks into a severe cramp. Section 3, a dangerous lead, the quinine warding. For decades, quinine was basically the go-to prescription for leg cramps. And sure, it does offer a modest benefit, about a 28% reduction in cramp frequency. But we have to look at the reality. The FDA has issued strict, severe warnings against using quinine off-label for leg cramps. Why? Because it carries major risks, like cardiac arrhythmias, dangerous drops in blood platelets, and has been associated with at least 93 deaths. A modest reduction in cramps is absolutely not worth a potentially fatal risk. Section 4, solving the case, acute relief. So if we can't just pop a quinine pill, what do we do when an attack hits? You've got to act quickly to disarm the spasm. First, straighten the leg and pull your toes back toward your shin to stretch that calf.
Second, vigorously but gently massage the tightened muscle with your hands to get the blood flowing. And third, stand up. Seriously, press your feet flat against the cold floor and bear a little weight on the leg. This actually overrides the nervous system's signal to contract and forces that muscle to lengthen out.
Section 5. Evidence-based prevention.
Acute relief in the moment is great, but let's talk about how to lock these cramps out of your bedroom for good. It starts with replenishing your nutritional toolkit with whole foods. Potassium, magnesium, and calcium are your best friends. Eating things like spinach, pumpkin seeds, sweet potatoes, and yogurt is a huge defensive strategy. In fact, just eating a small banana with a handful of almonds in the evening can keep your electrolytes perfectly stable all night long. And if you need a quick electrolyte boost, let me introduce you to an absolute heavy hitter: coconut water. A single cup packs over 500 milligrams of potassium and a solid dose of magnesium, all for just 60 calories. It is a fantastic low-sugar alternative to those neon-colored sports drinks. Remember what we said about sugar? Those sports drinks often cause an insulin spike and a rapid potassium dump. Coconut water beautifully replenishes those cramp-preventing electrolytes without triggering that terrible sugar reaction. But check this out. Perhaps the single most effective preventative measure doesn't cost a dime. Studies show that taking just 2 minutes to perform gentle calf and hamstring stretches against a wall before you get into bed cuts the frequency of nocturnal cramps by a staggering 50%. You are physically lengthening the muscle fibers that naturally shorten with age and improving blood circulation, perfectly prepping your legs for a night of rest. So, here is your daily prevention toolkit. First, stay consistently hydrated throughout the day rather than just chugging plain water right before bed. Second, and this is crucial, set a strict cutoff time for caffeine and alcohol around 2 or 3 in the afternoon. Both are potent diuretics, but worse, alcohol directly interferes with your body's ability to absorb magnesium from your food and makes your spinal reflexes hyperactive while you sleep. That nerve hypersensitivity, combined with dehydration, is the perfect storm for cramps. Finally, do your stretches, keep a heating pad nearby, and review your meds. Which leaves us with a final, really important question to consider tonight. What is hiding in your medicine cabinet or sitting right on your dinner plate that might be stealing your sleep? I challenge you to investigate your routines, take control of your diet, and consult your doctor. You really don't have to live with this midnight agony. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and here's to a peaceful, cramp-free night.